This is RamView.
It's hot out there. Let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the December 20th, 2024 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's Kistler Law. They've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair, having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Benched the app. Don't take a zero, don't take a goose egg because you left a non-starting player in your fantasy lineup. Download Bench the app today and dominate your fantasy season. All right, there's a great line in the mini-series John Adams, right towards the end of it. And I read the book John Adams about 20 years ago, great book. About 10,000 pages, it felt like. So I was a little hip to when, you see the miniseries. But I don't remember it in the book, but I do remember in the miniseries. It's at the end of his life, and John Adams is walking in the field with one of his sons, and he just keeps saying the word rejoice, right? Rejoice evermore. Rejoice evermore. And then he says, I wish that phrase had been on my lips when I was a younger man. Rejoice evermore, because he was just thinking about all the things he'd seen and accomplished in life. And as I watch this Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Clark, Mina Kimes feud go on, don't ask me what it's about. I don't really care what it's about, but it dominates my thread. And here's the part that just makes me laugh. Rodgers is going to the NFL Hall of Fame, probably one of the most talented quarterbacks you're ever going to see play. Ryan Clark had a great NFL career. He's not going to the Hall, but, he's had a great NFL career. He's had a great post-career. And even though I don't believe Mina Kimes is that gifted when it comes to sports, especially football, all credit to her. She got the gig and she's paying bills with it. So they've all accomplished so much more in the world of sports than I ever have. So what I don't get, with that said, is as this feud keeps popping up all over my social media thread and other places, and people are talking about it online or even on some of the shows I listen to, I'm just thinking, is how small are all these folks to be wasting their breath on such ridiculous matters? Walk away. What it tells me, however, especially as we come to this Christmas time, that in the macro is that everything they've achieved has not been enough. NFL Hall of Fame quarterback. Oh my gosh. Great NFL career, great broadcasting career. I got a job. Mina Kimes has a job that 10,000 people want. Probably 9,000 can do better, right? But she's got the gig. What am I in a feud for? Why am I arguing these things? That's the macro, right? They've achieved, everything they've achieved hasn't been enough. Now, this is a lesson I learned in the micro of that I've achieved, okay? And I say micro for me. First time I got a byline, first time I got praised for a column, the first year Tangent Dreams was out. No shameless plug here. It's available on Amazon. First year Tangent Dreams was out. All of it was cool for about a moment, right? And none of it was ever enough. I thought when I got the byline, it would change my life. It didn't change my life. I thought that first time I wrote the column that, man, that's going to be great. But you know what happened the next day? Someone else wrote a column, right? Do you know what happened when I wrote this book? Cool cover, everything got all successful. You know what? Like all books and everything else, another book came out. And I realized it was never enough, right? Somebody else wrote a book. Somebody else broke a story. Somebody else wrote a more timely column. And there needs to be other things in our life. Back to Christmas, right? For me, there has been. And so I have the ability to say, rejoice, right? Rejoice evermore. Not to go churchy on you here, but scripture in Thessalonians, it talks about, constantly give praise for everything that's going on in your life. Give thanks, Rogers, Clark, and Kimes have achieved things most of us will never achieve. And it makes me wonder, what is the sadness in their life that just can't let them walk away? They should all just walk away. Personally, I think they're running the risk of being visited by 3 ghosts this Christmas and, maybe having a George Bailey moment on top of all that. But anyway, there's just stuff you learn to walk away from. And there are things that we all have to learn to walk away from, especially in sports. So, guys, thanks for clicking on. I appreciate that. Let's talk this Rams-Jet game real quick, and then we'll get to some questions here as they build, and then we'll get to around the NFL and other places. College football tonight. You got Indiana. No, not Indiana. You have, who is it? It's Notre Dame and Indiana. That's right. That's Notre Dame and Ohio State's playing Tennessee. Looking forward to that. And anytime you guys got to bounce, it's cool. I get it. So feel free to bounce anytime you want. You can come back later. If you're subscribing or you're here for the first time, please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Let us know you're there. And help us out. We don't have a Patreon account. We don't have a paywall. Check our sponsors out, Kistler Law. And obviously, if you can purchase a book that I've written, I would appreciate that. They're all on Amazon. Okay. Here's the thing when you watch this Jets game, right? We talked about this. They've lost 6 games this year by 1 score. Rams have probably run something similar to where most of their games have been 1-score games. So the pendulum could have swung really easily for the Jets either way. Jets, when you look at them, they have an edge on the boundaries, right? Their wide receivers against our DBs, you're going to give the edge to their wide receivers. Our wide receivers against their DBs, at best you could say it's probably a draw. DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Isaiah Oliver is the slot. They've got a lot of good stuff out there on the edges, right? So it comes down to the same thing we always bring it back down to. Can the Rams offensive line get a push? Can Kyron Williams average 3.9 yards a carry, right? 3.9 yards a carry, just enough to keep the Rams ahead of the sticks. So you're not 3rd and 15, but you're 3rd and 4, right? And then when you're 3rd and 4, everything opens up for you. I would expect maybe a little more 12 personnel from the Rams, 2 tight ends. Again, something to keep an eye on there. I am expecting, you're going to see Tyler Higbee, and I like Tyler Higbee. Is Tyler Higbee, if all things are equal, better than all the tight ends we've had this year? Yeah, he obviously is. But I don't know if Tyler Higbee's a savior, right? And people are so jazzed Tyler Higbee like it's going to change things. I like it because when he's healthy, he blocks, he's back. He does have some really bad drops sometimes. He's had that over the course of the last few years. And but I think Stafford's comfortable with him. And so that's a good thing. Regarding the Rams running the ball, Jets are really good against the run. The problem with the Jets this year hasn't been their defense. It's been their meds. They've been off their meds, all of them. It's been crazy. So the Rams have to establish something on the ground. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they're excellent corners. Isaiah Oliver, the former 49er who kind of washed out there in Frisco, he's having a really good year in the slot there for the Jets. So this is what I'm thinking. Diamadore Lenore, I always butcher his first name, and Chavarius Ward had a nice game against the Rams, against Puka, against Cooper Kupp. And, Gardner and Reed are capable of very much, even more so, of the same thing. So what does it boil down to? Who's that third receiver? Not necessarily the third wide receiver, but who's the third receiver? Who's the guy that Stafford can count on and go to? Maybe it's Tyler Higbee. Maybe it's Demarcus Robinson. We love Demarcus. Or maybe it's Atwell. It seems like it's been a long time since Atwell's been sent deep on a streak, up the left sideline, deep. When was the last time we saw that? We haven't seen that target of him going deep, just throwing it to him deep. And I would wonder if maybe McVay moved that and LaFleur moved that on the back burner about a month ago, knowing that maybe they needed to have something in reserve for when we play the Jets. And again, you establish enough of a run game, that play is going to be there. Their safeties are good, but they're mortal. Their safeties are good, but they're not anything greater than what we have. Their corners are. Their corners are really good. Now, in the Rams' favor, The Jets defensive tackle, defensive lineman, Quinnen Williams, who's had a great year, he's got a hamstring issue and is listed right now as a game-time decision. He's considered questionable, but he injured that hamstring last week. He hasn't practiced all week. He's listed as questionable, and he has a tender hammy in 25-degree weather in a game that essentially means nothing to the Jets season. I'm not sure where he is contract-wise. I'd love it if one of you guys can check that out to see where Quinnen Williams is contract-wise, because I don't know if a dude that's maybe a year away from a contract, going into a contract year, really wants to injure a hamstring in week 16 for a 4-10 team. And if Quinnen Williams is not in the lineup, that's really going to be a big deal for the Rams, right? Offensive line for the Rams, everybody's healthy. Havenstein, Alaric Jackson didn't practice today, which is good. They're just getting them some rest. So all that's good. Kobe Durant is back, healthy, ready to go. Akilla Witherspoon played well last week. You got Darius Williams playing well. So the Rams are looking good there. And then, of course, Tyler Higbee's back, which you'd like to see. I'm not upset. A lot of folks are upset about Jared Verse not registering any sacks the last couple of weeks. The Rams been a little slow. One, throw out the Josh Allen game. That doesn't mean it. Josh Allen, what would we say here? Football players are from Venus and Josh Allen's from Mars. Forget about that game. The 49er game, rivalry game, I'm not worried about it. The thing is I think teams are having to account for Jared Verse, and that means a lot. If they can account for Jared Verse, then you know who's really risen the last few weeks is Kobe Turner. The conductor's been on fire the last few weeks, and I think that helps the Rams as well. Offensive line, Alaric Jackson, left tackle, Steve Avila, left guard, Bo Limmer, center, Kevin Dotson, right guard, right tackle, Rob Havenstein. I got a question. I don't know if there's another one there. I had a question come in earlier about some of these guys not getting any Pro Bowl consideration or getting Pro Bowl consideration. I don't even pay attention to the Pro Bowl, to tell you the truth. Okay, we got a few questions rolled in here. Oh, we do have some questions rolled in here. I'll see what we got. Let's take it. Willie Bowen, LA Rams will win, will ram it to the New York Jets. I want that to happen. Please let that happen. Bill, I want the 3rd seed because I have a feeling the Lions and Eagles are going to be eliminated early. Ooh, that's a great point there to start discussing. Rams are 8-6. Buccaneers are 8-6. Buccaneers are a hot team right now, right? That's going to be interesting to see how the next three games play out. It will be. Right now, if everything was all equal as it is right now, the Rams would host the Vikings. Vikings don't scare me, right? Packers don't scare me. I think the Rams are ready to beat the Packers. I really do. Lambeau might be another tail, but if it's in SoFi, Rams are ready to beat them. By the way, game day in RamCave is about a Rams fictional playoff game against the Packers. You might want to check it out. Not that I'm selling anything here. So yeah, there is something in what you say there, Bill. I totally agree. Higbee gets his first touchdown from your lips to the football god's ears, right? Gets a touchdown in the red zone, right? 3rd and goal at the 4, and we get a touchdown, right? All right, there we go. Willie Bowen, yes, big rig. Tyler Higbee gets the first TD. Onene Vogasam, Rams 48, Jets 24. In 25-degree weather, Onene? Are you serious? I hope it happens. I love to see the Rams. If the Rams were to drop 48 on the Jets, a 24-point win means we're relaxed in the 4th quarter. Everyone's happy, okay? But if the Rams dropped 48 on the Jets, which is a solid defense, there'll be a lot of teams in the NFC really scared about having to play the Rams in the playoffs. Man, I hope that happens. Micah Gutierrez, Joe T is preaching today. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to preach. I'm not proselytizing. It's just, at a certain point, I got to tell you, I think we've gotten up to 354 subscribers. But it was so slow when we started this thing about 2.5 years ago. It was so slow. And I don't do any advertising. It's all word of mouth. So it's organic. And then Kistler Law joined us and TC Auto. I got to tell you, I'm nowhere near with some of these other guys, like Peo Time, right? He's a monster. Ellebogen, they're monsters. These guys are all monsters. But, man, I got to tell you, I do rejoice. Even in the micro, I do rejoice. And it's like, do I want to start a fight with everybody else? Do I want to get into this? It's like, man, Mina Kimes, rejoice where you're at. Aaron Rodgers, rejoice. As Adam said in that thing, it was like, I wish these words had been on my lips when I was a younger man, every day of my life when I was in my youth, to just say, rejoice, right? So sorry if I got preachy there, guys, but that's how I feel. Let's see here. Bill, save 48 for the playoffs. If you could save them, I'd save it. But my thing on that, Bill, is that I'd want teams just a little bit fearful. I'd want them thinking, oh my gosh, this aerial game of the Rams is something scary, or I want them thinking, I want them questioning, I want them worried. That's the part that I like about that. On an A, praise God, Pastor Joe, preach on, I'm with you. Okay, I just want to remember what everyone's here for. They're not here to hear me preach. That's what Burbank Faith Virtual is for. On A, thank you again for allowing me to share me and my wife testimony when I first got to your channel. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. Micah Gutierrez, my player to watch will be Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, there's another guy. If Kupp and Nakua are tied up by their corners, D-Rob will be pivotal. Yeah, and D-Rob was a little quiet the last couple weeks. So D-Rob, Atwell going deep up the left side. Yeah, those things are there. And, you just hope that the offensive line and the running game is good enough so Stafford has enough time to go to his third receiver. So there we go. I totally get you on that one. Manuel Vasquez, Rams 27, Jets 23. Like it, take it. Willie Bowen, Tyler Higbee, welcome back. All right, Willie Bowen, what's up, Manny? Willie Bowen, Rams 44, New York Jets 3. Love you, Willie. I don't see it. Love you, Willie. I appreciate your being here. I'll make sure you get a Kistler Law mug if that happens. I hope it happens. Steve Ramirez, I can't see Bucks losing the rest of the regular season. The one thing about the Bucks there, Steve, and thanks for joining us, Steve. The one thing about the Bucks, and I agree with you, they're in fuego right now, right? Is I got to give credit to Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys keep playing hard. He has not rolled over and died, and he does not. My personal thinking is Mike McCarthy does not have to just be grateful if Jerry Jones makes him an offer at the end of the year. He's a free agent. He can say, you know what? I won in Green Bay. I had great winning success throughout 3 years of double-digit wins there in Dallas with a dysfunctional this and that. Hey, maybe if I come to Chicago, maybe Mike McCarthy can come to Chicago. Maybe he knows the NFC North, right? So that's the part that's got me thinking a little bit this week about the Bucks. That's the part, Steve. I digress there. Steve Ramirez, Joe T equals heaven can wait. I thank you so much. Yes, you're right. Manuel Vasquez, are you concerned about the long season for our rookies wearing down? Last year they hit a wall for a couple of games. Verse and Fisk are high motor guys that are not used to playing these many games. Yeah, you know what? That happens, but not only did they have a bye, they also got 10 days off. That was a hard road going from playing Buffalo and then going up to Frisco. That was hard. I mean, that was the hard part. They've had 10 days off. When you're young, you recharge really quick, right? I shared it with you, I think a few weeks ago. I used to go to bed at, 11:45 at night and get up at 2:45 in the morning for a 3 a.m. shift, right? Then I'd work till noon and then coach some basketball until 4 and then go play basketball and eat dinner at 11, go to bed at like 11:45 and just repeat the process. When you're young, you can do those things, right? I got a face that probably looks like I did those things. So I think they're going to be okay. Neil Gonzalez, do you think they will have a 2 running back field, 2 tight end and 1 receivers formation? Are you talking Rams or are we talking Jets? If you're talking Rams, that would be interesting. We haven't seen much of that. I think it would be kind of cool. I think a wrinkle like that would really throw some teams off. And Neil, I think, were you the one, Neil, or was it Dano that made the suggestion of let's get Jonah Jackson out there as a fullback? Let him smash somebody. I do love this versatility. You have an elite Hall of Fame passer. You got Hall of Fame level talent at receiver in Nakua and Cup. That doesn't mean Nakua's going. Cup might have a shot, but it's that level. And then to have the ability when you need to grind. And that's the beautiful thing about the Rams offense. So I would hope they get a little crazy there. Hope they would do something like that. Just a different look. Hey, remember they were running Skoranek at the fullback spot a few times? That was kind of cool. Also, they talk about how the Rams love the tight bunches along the line of scrimmage because as the defense comes down, it gives more room for the receivers. That's something to expect as well. It's probably a better technical term for that. Tommy Huxley, Jets 24, Inglewood 21. Oh, wow. Tommy Huxley comes in and drops it. All right. I do not think the Jets are going to be easy. I don't think it's a duck walk. I think the Rams are going to win, but I don't think it's going to be 44-3. Richard Ramos, Rams 27, Jets 9. Ooh, if it is, great. The Jets only score 9. That would be great. Neil Gonzalez. Okay, you did mean the Rams, so we're cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Who would you see at fullback? Would you see a Corum Williams backfield? Let me know there, Neil. Onene, Seattle Seahawks is going to lose to the Vikings. I believe that. The one that I'm interested in, just to kind of crush their season, I want them undermotivated when they come to SoFi on Saturday night, is I think Carolina might have a shot against Arizona. I do. Do I think they're going to win 100%? No. But do I think they have a shot? I do. All right, guys, keep throwing the questions out there. Tommy Huxley, Seattle getting mud stopped by the Vikings. I'm going to tell you this: Vikings going to lose if they show up in that all-white garb that they wore on Monday night. That was pathetic. A team that's made its reputation on the purple people eaters, and they're wearing all white. Someone should be fired for that. But again, this is an organization that took its best asset, playing in the snow, and went indoors 40, 45 years ago so they could host Super Bowls instead of playing them. But, of course, they were losing all the Super Bowls they were playing in. And in those days, I hated the Vikings anyway. They haven't been good enough for me to hate the last 40 years. All right, around the NFL and other places, getting to that Charger game last night, doesn't replay assist come across as awfully subjective, right? It's like, we feel like using it here. We don't want to use it there. I wish there was some little more consistency with replay assist. I did love the free kick. I knew it was a possibility. I'd heard it talked about for years. I did not see the Ray Wersching one in 76. Seems like the Chargers have the market cornered on free kicks, going for field goals and scoring. And here's the ironic one. I wanted to see what it would look like. Here's the ironic part is that the Bolts won 27-24. The margin of victory was provided by the free kick at the end of the first half. That was wow. And I'll take someone's correction, maybe Steve Ramirez. Don't teams have the same option after giving up a safety? Isn't that a free kick from your 20? Could a kicker put the ball in the air 90 yards and maybe kick a field goal from 80 yards with no rush, almost like a kickoff? Could that be a shot, right? If there was still time on the clock when Rusty Jackson ran out of the end zone in the Rams-Cowboys playoff game in 76, and it was 14-12 and stuff, could the Rams have kicked a field goal? Not that they would have or anything like that. Just curious. The Herbert touchdown throw to Darius Davis was wow, right? I mean, everyone likes to bag on Herbert because they haven't done anything yet. But wow, that throw to Darius Davis was next level. I thought it was great. Chargers wide receiver Quentin Johnson is the kind of guy who takes the test, does fabulous on it, and then forgets to sign his name at the top, right? How does that guy – that guy looks like Ronnie Bell. He drops the ball so much, right? He'd be the guy, if you watch the old NFL films, when you see Sid Gilman, when he's on the sideline with the Oilers, the assistant says to him to hit him in the hands. And Sid Gilman says, get him out of there because he's got no hands, right? That's Quentin Johnson. But Chargers got blown out early. I did pick the Chargers, and it looked like this game was, especially when Herbert threw his third interception of the year at the goal line, it looked like that was going to get away from them. But this is what Harbaugh does, right? This is the Harbaugh effect countering the Spanos bad mojo. Brandon Staley, Anthony Lynn, Mike McCoy as HCs all would have lost that game. But Harbaugh's down 21-10, and then they come out in the second half and they pretty much dominate in terms of offense and just shutting down that Bronco offense, right? And so yeah, that was a nice win for the Chargers. Other things, the Chiefs have activated Hollywood Brown, and that one's interesting because that's going to give time, because it looks like right now Mahomes is going to play, and maybe wants to build some chemistry with Hollywood Brown, who's been gone all year. Hollywood Brown, if he's kind of the guy that everyone always expected him to be, that's going to be that's going to be a real plus for the Chiefs down the stretch, and that's probably why Mahomes is still going to play. I wouldn't play him anyway. Last playoff season in college football, the name a lot of people liked was for Washington and his running back Dylan Johnson, and Dylan Johnson was just recently released by the Carolina Panthers. He's had knee issues, and I don't think he's that fast. Bigger news, Ravens waived former Steeler, former Panther wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Dude is attituding himself right out of the NFL. I think the Steelers and Steeler fan Rob are feeling really good about that trade of Johnson to Carolina for Dante Jackson. I don't want to say Jackson's been lights out, but Jackson's been really good. And now Deontay Johnson is unemployed. Boom. All right. Around the NFL and other places, speaking of other places, labeling Barkley and Shaq as get off my lawn guys when it comes to the NBA and its poor ratings is foolish. Making arguments that people aren't watching the NBA because Shaq and Barkley are talking trash about the NBA is the height of stupidity. It makes no sense, and it makes people who make those arguments, they just look really foolish. Barkley and Shaq, as a matter of fact, are late to the party. The NBA has been unwatchable for 15 years. Yes, it's the three-point shot that's been abused, but it's also been lost. Is the beauty of the game. There's beauty to basketball, right? The passing, the cutting, the moving without the ball. What we called the poetry of the game has been replaced with analytic nerds' operator's manual, right? The analytics nerd said, here's the operator's manual. Everyone do the same thing, and nobody knows how to move without the ball. No one knows how to cut. No one plays D. It's gross to watch. And the unfortunate part is that it's really filtered down, cycled all the way down into college and the high school level. And it's a game that's geared towards the athlete and not the basketball player. So anyway, there we go on other places. Let's before we get to playoffs, let's see any other questions rolled in, and we'll get to that. Steve Ramirez, Rams David Ray tried a free kick about 57 yards in 1971 versus the Colts on Monday Night Football. Hey man, is that game on YouTube? Steve? I'd be curious to know. Man, how long do you think a kicker like David Ray would last today? Because there were times that guy was hot, and then there were times that guy was positively Kurt Knight. That's a good pull there, Steve. Mike Negretti, hola, Pastor Joe. Do you want us to send you the score of the Jets game? If you send me the score of the Jets game, if you look for any way to contact me at any time between 10 and 1 p.m., man, I'm going to have a tough time saying rejoice evermore, right? That's really putting me to the test. That's testing my sanctification here. Brother, please don't put that kind of pressure on me. Bill, Heaven Can Wait or the Kurt Warner movie, who would you rate better? I thought the thing about Heaven Can Wait was just the fact that, I don't know if it was deliberate or what, but they gave Tom Jarrett, they gave him, that was in Heaven Can Wait, Warren Beatty, when he finally became that guy, they gave him Jaworski's number. Jaworski was 16 for the Rams. Now, that Jaworski game was on a Sunday night, and actually the anniversary is coming. That game was on a Sunday night. Jaworski scored on a quarterback draw, and we went crazy. And the interesting part about that, it was that he wore 16. And then in 78, that's when Heaven Can Wait came out. Next year, the Rams were playing in the Super Bowl, so there was a lot of stuff there, a lot of moving parts there that were really interesting. Kind of like the Rams playing the Packers in the playoffs in game day in the RamCave. But yeah, the Kurt Warner movie, I was disappointed with the guy playing Kurt Warner. I didn't like his throwing motion. I didn't like it. I didn't like the numbers on the uniform. The uniform numbers looked a little small. It's petty. It's petty on my part. I thought it was okay. Richard Ramos. I haven't been able to watch a Laker game since Chick Hearn died. And the way he spoke during the Laker game is iconic before cable. I was listening to him on radio. Oh, yeah. Chick Hearn. Yeah. I mean, right? Fifth person in the Trinity, right? You got the big three, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Then you got Vince Scully at 4. And then you got Chick Hearn at number 5. Chick Hearn, man, that guy, I can remember, we'd sit high atop the western sideline in those days. What was that? Was that considered colonnade? Yeah, it wasn't loge. Loge was lower to the floor. Colonnade was above. And we'd sit on that sideline up high because the tickets were like $8, $9. I went to a lot more Laker games before Magic Johnson got there. And the only other one that was there was Jack Nicholson, a legitimate Laker fan. And, I can remember walking by and, Chick Hearn's wrapping up after a game and we'd say, hey, Chick. And he'd look at us. He'd just look at us and he'd go, hey, fellas, what's going on, man? And he was just, I don't know what he was like anyplace else. But yeah, Chick Hearn, man. Yeah, I get it. And then some of his great Chickisms were unbelievable. Steve Ramirez, thank you. The game is on YouTube. I'll have to check that out. Tim Burns, hey, Joe, I'm here, but health is down. Great show. Okay, Mr. Burns, we'll be keeping you in thought and prayer. Neil Gonzalez, thanks, Pastor Joe. Rams 24, Jets 17. All right, there you go. Okay, guys, let's keep rolling here. Playoff picture. Everything's still the same in the NFC. Lions 12-2, Eagles 12-2. Let's see. Lions, Eagles are 12-2. Tampa Bay 8-6. Rams 8-6. Vikings 12-2. Packers 10-4. Taxkins 9-5. So basically, the Rams got the fourth seed is the division in the division race right now. So that means they would face the Vikings at home, which we've already done. Vikings are mortal. So what needs to happen this week for the Rams is we need to beat the Jets, right? Clearest path to the playoff, win out. Just win out. Philly to beat the Taxkins would be a good thing. It would be a real good thing to see the Taxkins fall 9-6, just in case, right? Just in case. The Taxkins have the Falcons and the Cowboys to close the season. Cowboys aren't a duck walk, and we're going to find out about Michael Penix here in a little bit. And so that would be good if Philly beat the Taxkins. Vikings beat the Seahawks, which would be good. Smith is playing, Geno Smith. You got to figure that knee can be a little tender. It would be very good for the Panthers to beat the Cardinals and the Dolphins to bury the 49ers, who are going to be even without Isaac Guerrero. That would set up this weekend, ending with the Rams at 9-6, Seahawks at 8-7, and Cardinals at 7-8. So something to think about there. Rams have Jets, Cardinals, and Seattle. Chiefs are 13-1. Bills are 11-3. Steelers are 10-4. Texans are 9-5. Ravens have the 5th spot. They're 9-5. Chargers move into the 6th spot with that win last night. They're 9-6. Broncos are 9-6. Colts, Dolphins, Bengals are all 6-8. And, they have a chance to win, make a playoff, or slim and none. And, slim just went out the window, right? If the playoffs were to start today, the Chargers would get the Steelers and Steeler fan Rob. And I think they met earlier this year. Something there to think about. All right, I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 21 years. Now I do RamView, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law and, of course, Bench the App and Temple City Auto Repair. So check those guys out. Please check out our books. They're on Amazon, and that would be great if you guys could check them out, because we don't have a paywall or a Patreon account. And all these things, the books I write, they help keep me employed in my day job. I pastor a very small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can see us here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual and BurbankFaithVirtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual across social media. Also, you can check us out on Spotify at From the RamCave. It's the audio version of this on Spotify. We need to make some inroads there. We're not making very many inroads, but if you could join us there, that would be great as well. Okay, right now we got Indiana at Notre Dame. I know Steve Ramirez is rooting for Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman, but I'm rooting for Indiana. No score updates, guys. I'm going to be watching that game here in a few minutes as we hit the 35-minute mark. Looking at the Rams and Jets again. Jets are 4-10. They were projected to win 9 games this year. Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, who's ready to go. He's got a tender knee. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard. That's formidable. Their offensive line has performed better. I think it's graded a little too high, but Olam Fashanu, the Penn State guys, played well. John Simpson at left guard, Joe Tippmann. Elijah Vera Tucker was a little banged up, but he's ready to go. And Morgan Moses at right tackle. Elijah Vera Tucker, of course, at USC. So yeah, this is formidable. Then you look at their defense. They have some nice off-ball linebackers. Quinnen Williams has 7 sacks. Will McDonald on the edge has 10. Michael Clemens 4. Hassan Reddick's been a little slow after getting 2 sacks in his first 2 games back after the contract hassle. He hasn't done much since. And then, of course, you're running DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner. On the flip side, looking at their offense, Breece Hall has only rushed for 100 yards once this season, so the Rams should have some success. He's very good, but you're not playing Saquon Barkley, right? He's very good, but you're not playing Saquon Barkley. Also, the Rams did a really good job on James Cook, against the Bills a couple weeks ago. So the Rams' run defense has picked up. Defensively, though, the Jets have only allowed 3 100-yard rushers this year. Jordan Mason in week 1, Najee Harris in week 7 for the Steelers, and Joe Mixon in week 9. That was a game the Jets won. Since then, no one's rushed for over 65 yards against the Jets in the last 5 weeks. So they've tightened it up. Who have the Jets beat? The Titans, the Patriots, and Jacksonville. All right? Yeah, right. And Houston. They caught Houston on a bad night. That's their biggest win. 6 losses by 1 possession. So my prediction, my final score in this game is Rams 23, Jets 16. Cold weather. I'm affording each team a surprise field goal, and I'm affording each team a missed extra point because 25-degree weather, right? I don't know how Mike Lansford did it. I really, really don't. All right, week 16, we're off to a good start. I'm 1-0. I took the Chargers over the Broncos, and the difference was the free kick, 27-24. Texans at the Chiefs. I am leaning Texans in this game, but this game is only important for the Chiefs in terms of chemistry. And interestingly, for both teams, it isn't critical. Texans are not going to lose the AFC South. They would have to lose 3 in a row. Colts would have to win 3 in a row, and I don't think that's going to happen. Steelers at the Ravens in the Bam Morris Bowl. No George Pickens. Injuries on defense. And if Mike Tomlin pulls this off, I'm going to make him my coach of the year because everyone's going to go with Baltimore. And you know what? Baltimore's probably going to win this game because of what's going on with the Steelers. And they'll be hyping the Ravens again as a Super Bowl team, right? Everyone loves to jump on board. And then when they lose in January, it's like they let Lamar down. We're always going to hear the same narrative from the KBM. But I'll tell you, the Ravens might beat the Steelers on Saturday. But if they face them again in January, I'm going to go with the Steelers if Pickens and those guys are back. Sunday's games in the Randy Johnson Bowl, not that Randy Johnson, but this Randy Johnson. The Falcons are debuting Michael Penix, and they still have a lot to play for, so they should be sticking it to the Giants at home. In the Ricky Prohl Bowl, Cardinals and Panthers, I flipped on this. I'm going to do it right now. Panthers in the upset. Cards are without Paris Johnson, their left tackle. It'll be cold. And I owe Bryce Young a couple of positive thoughts because I was so hard on him earlier in the year. So I'm going with the Cats. Lions at the Bears in the Jack Concannon Bowl. Chicago will be up, energized, excited. And then Fane, when he gets real in the third quarter, I'll go with the Lions. Browns at Bengals in the Tom DeLeon Bowl. The Bolts win pretty much dooms Cincy, but I think they'll have enough to beat the Browns at home. Titans at Colts. The Bubba Smith Bowl. Bolts win, did in the Colts as well. If Indy wins and Houston loses 3, that's not going to happen. Texans are still going to go, even if that does happen, because they swept the Colts. Titans are just bad, so I'm going with the Colts at home. Rams, Jets in the Greg Zuerlein Bowl. Rams 23, Jets 16. Eagles at the Taxkins and the Brian Mitchell Bowl. Does anyone remember Brian Mitchell? Dude belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to say that again. Brian Mitchell belongs in the Hall of Fame. Do you know who has the second most yards from scrimmage? The second most total yards in NFL history? First is Jerry Rice. Second is Brian Mitchell. Belongs in the Hall. But there's always potential. I'm taking the Eagles, but there's always potential for a Philly meltdown, and it's going to be fun to see. I think Washington gives them a game, but then I think they fade. The Birds are better. Vikings at Seahawks in the Steve Hutchinson Bowl. As long as the Vikes revert to some form of purple, they'll finish off the Hawks. Patriots and Bills in the Lawyer Malloy Bowl. Limit Allen snaps. Fine him if he runs the ball. Fire Joe Brady if he calls a designed run for Josh Allen. Do not let Josh Allen get hurt in a game against the Patriots, right? You should have more than enough to beat the Patriots without Josh Allen. Jaguars at Raiders in the Rob Johnson Bowl. Calling it the Rob Johnson Bowl tells you where this game is at. This will be the last hurrah of Desmond Ritter's football career. He'll make a roster again, but he's never going to get this many snaps again. So rejoice evermore if you're Ritter. 49ers at the Dolphins in the Roy Foster Bowl. If the Fins lose this game at home, someone needs to get in McDaniel's grill. Something's just a little too cute about the Fins, right? And he should be grateful the Rams did him a favor all those weeks ago. Yeah, the Dolphins need to clean house on Frisco. Sunday night, Buccaneers at Cowboys, the Joey Galloway Bowl. Hate the Cowboys, but I've developed a soft spot for Mike McCarthy. Tough dude. Bucks are red hot, and Dallas has been miserable at home. They're 1-6. I'm going with Tampa. Monday night, Saints at the Packers, the Ty Montgomery Bowl. Love seeing running backs wear number 88, as Ty Montgomery did. My feeling here is Green Bay just needs to avoid injury, and then they can move on. All right, I think we got it in here. Let me do a couple of things in Rams history.
It was a stone group, my
All
man.
right, born on this day in 1954, the late Dwayne Osteen, who passed away in 2001, was an undrafted free agent out of San Jose State. Rams had a thing for San Jose State guys: Carl Eckert, Cody Jones, Jarrell Thomas. Osteen signed with the Rams in 78. He picked off 4 passes during the 79 season, recovered a fumble for the Rams in that run to the Super Bowl. Osteen joined the Raiders in 1980, played 31 games, started 12, intercepted 4 passes. He was a key member of the secondary for the Raiders in their Super Bowl, back-to-back Super Bowls. He won Super Bowl 15 with the Raiders when they beat the Eagles. So good career for him. He would have been, 70 today. Tom Newberry turns 62 today, and he was a great Ram offensive lineman, 2nd round, 50th overall out of Wisconsin lacrosse. When the Rams couldn't get anything right in the NFL draft, they did get Tom Newberry right. Mike Shadd was taken ahead of him at number 23 overall. And 1 year later, Donald Evans in 1987 was taken. And the year before, in 1985, the Rams spent the 50th overall pick on a wide receiver named Chuck Scott out of Vanderbilt. Tom Newberry was the exception. Played 9 years with the Rams, 10 in the NFL. Last season was in Pittsburgh. First team All-Pro twice. 131 games for the Rams, started 128. Started for the Steelers in 95 and started and played in Super Bowl 30 against the Cowboys. Never had a surgery while he was playing, and Tom Newberry's had a very successful post-career. Speaking of which, let me go to games that matter. On this date in 2020, the Rams lost to the Jets 23-20 when the Jets were 0-13. Probably the angriest I had been in the McVay era. How did that happen? You never know. Rams recovered and still made the playoffs that year. But we talked about this earlier. This is the anniversary of the Sunday night football game in 75 where the Rams beat the Steelers 10-3 on Ron Jaworski's quarterback draw. In that game, Jaworski was the quarterback. James Harris was banged up. Lawrence McCutcheon didn't play. Bertelsen didn't play. That was the coming out. That was the highlight game for Rob Scribner's career. I think he rushed for over 60 yards, the former UCLA guy who became a minister. But here's the irony of ironies. I talked about that not only with Heaven Can Wait. In 75, the Rams beat the Steelers 10-3, and the Steelers went on to win the Super Bowl and beat the Cowboys. In 78, the Rams beat the Steelers at Coliseum. And of course, the Steelers went on to win Super Bowl 13 and beat the Cowboys. That was just some really weird irony there. And then, of course, in 79, the Rams led the Steelers for 3 quarters. And then, of course, Eddie Brown, Eddie Brown did his thing. There you go. On December 21st, tomorrow, we're not on the air. December 21st, 1952, the Rams lost a playoff game to the Detroit Lions 31-21 at Briggs Stadium. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, and tomorrow is the 4th anniversary of Kevin Green's passing at the age of 58 in 2020. So we got all that stuff in. There we go. All right. I think we got it. Yes, we did. All right. See if some questions have rolled in. Let's see here. Who was the Office Rams play-by-play announcer? The Office play-by-play announcer. Help me with that one. I'm official play-by-play announcer. Are you talking about John Ramsey at the stadium? Are you talking about John Ramsey, that really deep voice for the Rams, first down, that guy? Or are we talking Dick Enberg? Dick Enberg, that was the guy. ESG, it will be a crisp 27 degrees and sunny at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. As long as it's sunny and it's in the morning, I think that's an advantage. Steeler fan Rob, yeah, Steelers beat the Chargers 20-10. Yeah, I give you full credit. And I'm not going to bag on you if you lose to the Ravens this week. But I think it's going to be fool's gold for the Ravens. I do. Mecca Negretti, hola, Pastor Joe. I was kidding about sending you the score of the game. You're doing the Lord's work. God bless. I don't even have your contact info. Keep up the great work. But there's always a way to find out, right? Onene, the Lord led me to your channel, Pastor Joe, so we can share the word about what's going to happen before it happened. Our Rams will win Super Bowl 59 this year. Preach. Steeler fan Rob, Ravens have to win out even if they win. We need last 2 if we lose tomorrow. Yeah, you got a tough road because I think you got the Bengals in front of you after this. And who's the other team that you're playing? I can't remember off the top of my head. I guess I could look it up. I will look it up there, Steeler fan Rob. You have got in front of you the Ravens tomorrow, and you've got the Chiefs and then the Bengals. Yeah, no easy road for you. You got to get everybody healthy. Steve Ramirez, isn't Rams Jets the Joe Namath Bowl? I thought that was too easy, Steve. That's why I thought it was too easy. Maybe in the future. ESG, I don't know, but I just don't see Buffalo winning the Super Bowl. I consider them almost like the Chargers. I do not trust the Buffalo coach. He chokes when the heat is on. There is a Chuck Knox, Marty Schottenheimer aura around Sean McDermott. There really is. But Chuck Knox never had a quarterback like Josh Allen. And Marty Schottenheimer never had a quarterback like Josh Allen, although he had some good ones. I would not, if it's not the Rams, out of the AFC, I wouldn't mind seeing the Bills come in and win the whole shebangy. I wouldn't mind seeing Detroit win the whole shebangy. And to tell you the truth, I would not be upset if the Chiefs won the whole shebangy because I think the NFL is better when there's an evil empire. You need someone that's just that dominant team that you can target and dislike, right? There we go. Tim Burns, if you could halt all Hall of Fame entries until who is allowed in, who is a travesty in Rams lore not in the Hall of Fame? Well, Eddie Meter. Did they finally put Maxie Bond in? Eddie Meter's a travesty. Harold Jackson's a travesty. I think, based on some of the guys that are getting in, I would love to see them go back and revisit, and it's not going to happen. Jack Reynolds and Isaiah Robertson, I think those guys need revisits. Honestly, a guy like Coy Bacon needs a revisit. It's real important that they look at some of the. Coy Bacon finished with 130 sacks. In fact, I have a note on Coy Bacon that I didn't use tonight because I have talked quite a bit about Coy Bacon in the past. Coy Bacon died December 22nd, 2008 at the age of 66. Had a rough go after his career ended, but then found the Lord, became a preacher, worked with kids. But when they went back and redid all the sacks, they credited Coy Bacon from 1968 to 1981 with 130 and a half sacks. That's more sacks than Ricky Jackson, Derek Thomas, and only 2 less than Lawrence Taylor. All those guys are Hall of Famers. Also, passing away on December 22nd, 2017 was former Rams wide receiver Purvis Atkins. If you want to know who Purvis Atkins is, watch the original Longest Yard, and he's Burt Reynolds' main receiver in that movie. There we go. But those are the names, Tim Burns, that I would throw out there off the top of my head. ASJ, I always found it odd that Merlin Olsen crossed over to being a tennis announcer. Did he call tennis? Did he go to Wimbledon with Dick Enberg? The dude had such a gentle voice, right? The dude had such a gentle voice. Steeler fan Rob, at least the last 2 are at home. Oh, that is to your advantage. That is your 2 advantage. Neil Gonzalez. Okay, Dick Enberg. Hey, Dick Enberg, I think in history, everyone's going to rate Vin Scully, and then Chick Hearn, and then probably Dick Enberg. I will have to say, for me, Dick Enberg would probably be ahead of Chick Hearn just because it was Dick Enberg's voice. Because I grew up, we grew up in that time where you went home from church or whatever, and you went to your back room and you turned on 710 KMPC, Los Angeles, right? And then you'd hear Dick Enberg's voice, and Don Drysdale was his color guy. And Dick Enberg calling the October 14th, 1973 Rams 37-31 victory over the Cowboys, Harold Jackson catching 4 touchdowns. That was everything to me. That cemented everything for me as a Ram fan. And, I would love entering through the pearly gates to hear, Dick Enberg, telling my story as I go through. That would be kind of cool, right? Yeah, I'm a big Dick Enberg guy there, Neil. Steve Ramirez. Sunday is the 50th anniversary of the Rams beating the Redskins in the playoffs on Isaiah Robertson's pick 6. We were there, Steve. We were there. That was a great day. Never had a doubt the Rams were going to win that game, right? I remember I'm 10, and I was sitting next to this African-American lady. She's a young lady, and she was there by herself. She came by herself, and we did something nice for her. I don't know what it was. So we shared binoculars because you needed binoculars because the Coliseum in those days was a disaster to watch a game. We didn't know any better. We were in the closed in. And, of course, Isaiah's touchdown was all the way down at the far end. Moses' Denson, all the touchdowns seemed to happen at the peristyle end. And she would share with me her binoculars. And because my brother had binoculars, but I couldn't get the binoculars for my brother. But this woman did. And I'll just remember her looking at me. She couldn't have been more than 22, 23 years old. She goes, Rams are going to the Super Bowl. We didn't high five, but we smiled. And she might have patted me on the back. Never saw her again, of course. But I thought it was ironic that this woman's there by herself watching the Ram game. Now, that's a Ram fan, right? That's a Ram fan. First round of the playoffs. Tim Burns, Jameis Juju, Rams 34, Jets 24. The Juju is all-knowing. All right. You've got your Juju. Bud Ferrillo used to have his garlic. I got the Marshalls up here on the board. These socks have not been worn since Super Bowl 56. If the Rams make it back this year, I'll actually put them back on. They have not been washed either since Super Bowl 56. They've been hanging there to keep the good vibes. All right. I think we got it, guys. I think we got it all in at the 50-minute mark. I know there's stuff you guys want to watch. I so appreciate you guys clicking on. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and share with friends. If you have not checked out any of my books on Amazon, please do. Most of them are over the Spiritual Net, but I do have my football books and everything and such. So please do. It helps us do what we do, right? You can take the Dark Norm and Temple City Company of the Ages, and they'll fit right inside of someone's Christmas stocking. There you go. They're also available on Kindle, and we are working on audio. We were kind of getting that ball rolling. I got sick, and I can't be coughing into the mic. It's just high bones to a lot of dough to hire somebody to do your audio for you. People have been encouraging me to do it myself, and I will. And when everything slows down, Willie Bowen again, Rams 44, Jets 3. Willie, you'll get the full Joe T collection if the Rams win 44-3. There you go. Okay, guys, I hate to go, but I got to go. Thank you so much for clicking on. Thank you for hanging. Go Rams. And we will see you on Monday and from the RamCave. God bless.